Dynamic arrays and this new calculation engine are exciting, but there are a few things that I want to warn you about. There is no workbook for this video, so just follow along and take note of some of these traps. We've got customers, we service their aquariums. Here they are, information about them and their aquariums. Let's filter this for aquariums that are over 80 gallons. Here we go. Equals filter, open parentheses. Our array is this table, comma, include gallons. We want ones that are over 80 gallons. Close parentheses. If there are none, then put none. Here is our dynamic array, and that blue line tells us so. Changes to our formula have to happen at the original formula. Notice this is grayed out. We cannot make a change to the grayed out formula. Let's look what happens if I try to change this from 80. Well, I can't do anything. The formula disappeared. I'm going to hit escape. If I want to change this to 100, I had to change it in the original formula. Well, I actually changed it to 110. Let's undo and go back to the 80. Next warning, we cannot delete a row or a column in an array. Let's say that I realize these last two customers, they no longer have aquariums. They're no longer really customers. So then I'm going to go highlight them, right click, delete, shift cells up. They didn't go anywhere. But watch this. I'm going to put warning right under our array. Inside the array, highlight, right click, delete, shift cells up. Okay. Now we got a spill error. The spill error is saying that we have no room for the result. Let's click on spill. That dotted line says how much room we need. Now this is really slick. Warning moved up because we deleted rows. Now we need to move it so that we can see our result. I'm going to grab it, move it. Our full array is still there. Let me do it this way. I want to highlight these two rows, right click, delete, shift cells up. Okay. Warning moved up. So rows did delete, but that array did not change at all. So let's get rid of that warning. Next, we can add a dynamic array to a pivot table, but it will not resize. So I'm going to go inside the data range, insert, pivot table. It is selecting the entire data range. I'm going to put it on an existing worksheet, location. Let's put it here. Okay. Let's get some room so we can see. I'm going to put aquarium in rows, size in values. Let's scroll back up. And if I go back to the data range and change this to aquariums that are greater than 50 gallons, enter. Now we have more aquariums. Let's go to our pivot table, right click, refresh. No, it's not changing. To change this pivot table, we would have to go into the data source and change it there in the pivot table settings. So let's get rid of our pivot table and go on to the last warning. I'm going to right click, delete, shift cells up. Okay. And our final warning, we cannot directly import a dynamic array into Power Query. Let's try that. Data, from table/range. Let's leave that unchecked saying my table has headers. Okay. We've got an error. It's possible to import a dynamic array into Power Query, but you'd have to import it from another workbook. If you don't know how to do that, you can see how in my Power Query course. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to close this, discard that query. And notice, this is truly our last warning. Dynamic arrays cannot go into tables. When we try to import this into Power Query, Power Query puts the data into a table. Well, now we've got a spill error because that does not work. Let's undo that. Now we're back to our unadulterated, but still beautiful dynamic array. There's still plenty to be excited about with the new calculation engine and dynamic arrays. But as you play with them, just keep these warnings in the back of your mind.